Namaste. This episode was recorded before the Pakistani terrorist attacks in Pahalgam in Jammu Kashmir and the subsequent bombing of terrorist bases and military installations in Pakistan by the Indian armed forces. But Bhavna Di and I believe that the contents of this episode remain as relevant today, in fact, even more relevant. Do watch this episode and tell us what you think. Namaste everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Bhagavad Gita series. Didi, what we are discussing today is particularly relevant for the times that we live in. Our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji had said that this is not an age of war, but there are wars all over the world. Ukraine, Russia, the terrible war in Sudan, Israel, Gaza, Yemen, all over. So many, hundreds of thousands are dying. And what's the answer to this? Does the Bhagavad Gita give us some lessons? That should it be like in the Middle East where some wars are almost perpetual wars? So is it that you have to keep fighting all the time? Or is Mahatma Gandhi's approach the best approach, that non-violence at all times? Or is the answer more nuanced? That's what we'll discuss in today's episode. I think the best way perhaps to see this is there are times that we must fight, there are times when we must not fight, and there are times when we have to stop fighting. And perhaps that's what Lord Krishna advises us in chapter 1, verses 34 and 35. I'm just going to read the verses for you. Acharyaha pitraha putras तथैव च पितामहाः मातुलाः श्वश्रुवाः पौत्रः श्यालाः सम्बन्धन्यस्तथा एतान्ना हन्तुम् इच्छामि नतोपि मधुसूदनः अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतो किं नु मही कृते. Didi, if you can do the translations, please.
Arjuna says, teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, grandsons, fathers-in-law, grandnephews, brothers-in-law, and all other kinsmen are present here, staking their lives and their riches. O Madhusudan, I do not wish to slay them, even if they attack me. Even if we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, what satisfaction will we derive from the dominion of the three worlds? Let alone this earth. ये दुनिया अगर मिल भी जाए तो क्या है?
Especially agar maar ke mile. In some ways, Arjun is proposing Mahatma Gandhi's approach, an approach of non-violence at all times. Now, I respect Mahatma Gandhi ji greatly, and there are no doubt that there are some benefits that India has derived of privileging pacifism and non-violence. India actually had the most ancient pacifist philosophy ever, which is Jainism, which is actually non-violence
At all
at
times.
all times, at all costs, even at the cost of your own personal life. Mahatma Gandhi did advise this to various people, not just in India, but even to the Jews. Right?
Yeah. He advised it to the Jews
Yeah.
during the Second World War.
Yeah, he advised the Jews that
March into the concentration camps.
yeah, and accept your fate with peace and without hatred towards the Nazis. Would that have been the right approach? He advised that to Indians as well when Jinnah's hordes, the Muslim League hordes, were killing so many particularly in eastern India. A part of partition that's not spoken about that much in modern India. The partition in Punjab is spoken about. Bengal is spoken about a bit. Sindh is ignored completely. But he had advised that if your Muslim League neighbors want to come and kill you, just accept it quietly, because you'll be following dharma. But is that really the right thing to do?
Satyagraha.
Yeah.
But tell me, Satyagraha, important as it was, did we really win our azadi bina khadak, bina dhal?
Yeah, because you cannot deny that the naval mutiny, which was inspired by Netaji Subhash Bose, the naval cadets first in Mumbai rebelled. I mean, the part of the British Indian Army, and then in Karachi, even in Singapore, various places. And in fact, that was the aim of the revolutionary movement. Over 100 years,
Gadar movement.
the Gadar movement, from Rash Bihari Bose downwards to Chandrasekhar Azad, to Bhagat Singh, later to Netaji Bose, so many leaders. One of their key aims was to get the British Indian Army to rebel, because they thought that's the only way they can weaken the British Raj, because it was in effect a police state. So that had an impact too. And this naval cadet rebellion, since it's not taught to us, many don't know, was actually a very inclusive movement.
Yeah.
There were the main leaders were a Hindu, a Muslim, and a Sikh.
And the lawyer was a Parsi.
Yeah, but
Dinshaw Vacha.
yeah, but this is not taught to us. This had a role too, but we cannot deny the benefits of Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent movement as well. We've done so much social reform in the last 75 years in India with almost minimal violence actually. India is socially so much more inclusive than it was 80 years ago. And social inclusion movements in other parts of the world, like in Europe, the anti-serf movement, in Russia, in China, it was accompanied with so much violence. But on per capita basis, India is actually a very low violence country. We have, if you think about it, we have a backward caste full-term prime minister, the first full-term backward caste prime minister, in effect a Shudra prime minister, that India has ever had, the first full-term backward caste prime minister. We have a scheduled tribe woman president. We had, and prior to her, we had a scheduled caste president. The kind of social reform, I'm not saying it's perfect, but a lot of social reform has happened with minimal violence. That was a benefit of Mahatma Gandhi.
And this too is in line with Sri Krishna's teachings. After all, one of the names of Sri Krishna is Ranchordas. You should know when to stop fighting.
And when not to fight. Yeah. But you should also, equally, you should know when you have to fight.
Also, you know why you are fighting, because Mahabharat was a dharma yudh. These days, many of these fights are over personal agendas, political agendas, aren't they? So, violence, necessary as it is, there is a concept of monopoly of violence, na?
Yeah.
Max Weber talked about it, that you know the state has the authority to exercise violence towards establishing order. And also, you know, when to fight, when not to fight.
Yeah.
Right?
If you don't have order, you have chaos, you have law of the jungle.
Yeah.
In which actually the weaker are the ones who suffer. Yeah. And that was the entire, I think, nuance in understanding, swinging on any extreme, that violence at all times. And you keep on fighting even when it's obvious that actually both sides are suffering. Like the Russia-Ukraine war. There's a time when you need to stop fighting. But thing of non-violence at all costs. When the other party starts thinking that you're a doormat, they can just walk over all the time, that's not a good idea as well. Yeah,
I do think Ukraine should stop fighting now. The country is almost destroyed.
yeah, it's very sad. And Russia has suffered too. Now, I don't know what is the best peaceful solution. And I don't know, hopefully India can play a role, because India has reasonably good relations with both sides. And if we can stop the killing and the fighting, if we can play a small role as well, peace will be the answer. And that's one of the instances where you think that nuance of stop fighting now is probably a good idea. Yeah.
So, you know, monopoly of violence was taught by Bhishma Pitama to Yudhishthir when he was lying in the on the Bano ki Shaiya. And
Bed of arrows.
yeah.
In the Shanti Parva.
Yeah.
What?
Bhishma Pitama taught Yudhishthir about when to use violence, how much violence to be used, what is the violence, authoritative violence to be used during peace times, and apat dharma during times of crisis.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bhishma Pitama predated Max Weber.
By quite a lot. Those of you who haven't read Shanti Parva and the Mahabharata, please do read. It's such a brilliant treatise on governance. But yes, this thing that the world can just get along on love and fresh air. No matter how wonderful that song is of John Lennon, of Imagine, but it doesn't really work that way in reality. In reality, peaceful people like us, soldiers at the border to prevent enemies from attacking us, or the police within our borders to prevent those who are criminal from attacking those who are innocent. There'll always be some criminal elements. It's a reality of humanity. Majority of us are not, and that majority needs protection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So always nuance. The answer is in the middle.
Yeah.
No extreme. No all-time war.
Yeah.
No war.
Yeah.
Prepare for war.
Yeah.
Keep
And
the
there's a
peace, but keep the powder dry.
Yeah, and there's a time to fight, there's a time to not fight. And I think this, sadly, those who don't read the Gita with wisdom, like there's this Indologist called Wendy Doniger. We'd read her books. I remember I had discussed her book with Ma once, and she'd said ki in her own native, wise Hindi, that she'd said that I'm translating, that there are people who are knowledgeable but are not wise. This woman appears like one of them because her understanding of the message of the Bhagavad Gita is that the Bhagavad Gita is telling you to just get up and fight. That's a bit like saying the message of the Bible is don't eat apples. That's not the message of the Gita. And if that's what you got, it doesn't say anything about the Bhagavad Gita. It says something about you, that you can't understand a nuanced message. I think, I agree. Perhaps that's what the Bhagavad Gita is advising us. There are times to fight, there are times to avoid a fight, and there are times when you must end the fighting because it's serving no purpose anymore. I think that's a great place.
Try the war with other means, which is diplomacy.
Diplomats are far more important than we give them credit for. It's a serious profession. Not to be done in the media, not to be done in public, behind closed doors. So I think there's a wonderful place to end this episode. Thank you so much for watching it. I hope you learned something insightful about the Bhagavad Gita from this episode. If you did, hit like and subscribe below so that you can be notified when the next episode of the Bhagavad Gita series launches. From Bhavna Didi and me, Namaste, Jai Shri Krishna.